Alright, so here goes the diagram, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to break it down for you the best way I can. It's kind of complicated, so try to open your mind up for a minute, try to follow it, try to hear me out, you know what I'm saying? Alright, so here you have a circle, or a zero, which is the natural manifestation of existence in our galaxy, which really represents the space inside, which is nothing really, so it's more than just a number or a shape. And here you got a line, or a point of direction, which is the natural manifestation of the progression of existence in our galaxy. So try to think of the line and circle as one and the same. So basically the line is there around the circle, so the human eye can decode the fact that there's a space within the line, and the space is moving in a direction, you know what I'm saying? So this is what the circle and line together is right here. Try to think of it like it's a side view of what I've been describing. Alright, so now here's where it gets tricky at, you know what I'm saying? So far it's been a natural progression through space from whatever created the whole thing, you know what I'm saying? So here's where the decoder comes into effect. That's what I'm going to call it, the decoder. The decoder isn't the creator of all, but can take anything that already exists and alter it however it pleases. So the decoder can engineer anything around the space, but not without using the space. So everything you see with the human eye is engineered by the decoder, because the eye itself is engineered by the decoder. That's why it can break or fail, just like anything else, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to do a part 2 and break it down more, get deeper into it. But for now, I'm going to just try to, you know what I'm saying, stick to the basics so you can understand the blueprint. But when it's broken down, you can see there's room for, you know what I'm saying, humans, gods, devils, aliens, good, evil, natural, unnatural creation, religion, all to be able to exist and fit into the picture without having to just believe in one thing, or you can be able to accept many things and not have to be a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to stick to the basics for now so you can understand the blueprint first. Alright, so now the decoder is in the picture now, you know what I'm saying? Since the decoder can't create the space and therefore can't control where the space is going, he had to manipulate the space outside the line, but inside the circle, which is where the material and mass that can be seen or touched can be engineered. So inside the circle, but outside the line. So to do this, he had to connect the beginning and the end of the space, which is right here. So now he's in total control of the space except for where it's going. You know what I'm saying? So he knows whatever is engineered outside the line but inside the circle that has awareness has to believe that what they see, hear, taste, touch, and feel had to be created by whatever created everything, which would be the Supreme Being. So whatever is created inside that has to believe that the Supreme Being created what they see and what they are and what the world they live in. So, because the decoder wants company, you know what I'm saying, and power. So as the world he engineered moves along, which is this, it's in motion, you know what I'm saying? Because it naturally is in progression. So as the world he engineered moves along, which now has a platform for things he engineered to exist and live, which is on top of the now visible line, but under the now visible space, which is that line. So think of that as the earth, or whatever you want to call it, what we stand on and live on. You know what I'm saying? He knows the creatures engineered are going to have to want to participate in his world. So the senses he wired into them have to be able to be used on all scales. You know what I'm saying? So try to think of it as like a pyramid or a chain of command. Like here's an example. Like you have a spoiled kid in the projects. You know what I'm saying? And you have a spoiled kid that lives in the suburbs who's spoiled amongst other spoiled kids, like rich kids. You know what I'm saying? The project kid's mind and the rich kid's mind are going to form the same way, even though the materials and surroundings of them, which they're spoiled from, are different. They're still being fed by the same spirit. You know what I'm saying? But the material is all engineered by the decoder, so it can only be valuable for its purpose. So it serves purpose on many different levels, as long as the material that's accepted by the receiver can stimulate the senses. You know what I'm saying? So once this happens, along with any, just like with any other event or situation, it results in space being conquered. That's what stimulating senses is space being conquered. So the only thing that can stimulate the sense or being now is more of the same thing or something different or stronger altogether, because nothing satisfies the sense forever, because the engineered world is in constant progression, because the space it was engineered out of is in constant progression. So basically one thing can only lead to another, you know what I'm saying? Another example is like when certain trends start and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like clothing, music, whatever, they all die out, but later on some of them still will always come back out. But when they come back out, they'll have a different twist to them, or have something less with them, or something more than it had last time to it, you know what I'm saying? Just like how the youngins nowadays wear the tight pants and all that shit, the same way they wore tight pants back in the day, but now they have a different label on them or a different brand to them, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. So it's kind of like trying to make you understand what I'm trying to say, you know what I'm saying? I said all that so you can see that I'm not speaking about one time period in particular. I want you to see how everything that happens on the line, you know what I'm saying, is sequential, and that way you can see that the concept of how it works is more important than what's working inside of it. You know what I'm saying? So this right here where the dotted line is. Like I said, this is where we exist on the line in between the space. These dots represent events, you know what I'm saying, people, anything that's going on inside of it as it's moving along. These are the stuff that takes place within it. You know what I'm saying? So the way the engineered world moves within itself, it's like, try to picture it spiraling forward like it's a screw. You know what I'm saying? These spirals you see, look at them as moving like how a screw would, moving forward. And the line, you know what I'm saying, like the platform in the middle of it, it moves backwards after feeding itself through the front. You know what I'm saying? So once it reaches the back, it becomes again the circle that's spiraling forward. So remember, the forward progression of the engineered world isn't natural. You know what I'm saying? The decoder is a mathematical wizard. So the way he made his engineered world be able to connect and basically feed itself forward is through prime numbers. You know what I'm saying? Because he understood that a prime number provides the opportunity for the natural space that was already there to be able to bend and be manipulated through all the other numbers between the prime numbers, making the prime number tunnel through the other numbers, which he engineered the material from that could be experienced through the senses. You know what I'm saying? So since he couldn't stop the natural progression of the space, this is his way of kind of bending it so he can use the energy that's moving it forward, which is what he needed to engineer. So although he has more numbers to work with to engineer material, since there are more prime numbers, since there are more non-prime numbers than there are prime numbers, he can never really engineer beyond the space or at the furthermost point, which would be out here. You know what I'm saying? He can never really engineer at the furthermost point. He has the space has to first be conquered by the natural progression before he can start engineering. You know what I'm saying? So the first prime number that comes is 1, which is also a line. Now I kind of fast forward the story, you know what I'm saying, to the point where humans are introduced, because I think the concept would be easier to grasp, you know what I'm saying? But since it's engineered on a sequential basis, you know what I'm saying, and operates as a pyramid, once you understand the concept of it, you can be able to break it down from any point once you understand how it works, you know what I'm saying?